The aliens took Soo-Jin Kim. One moment she was there, talking to the Varan visitors with her skilled tongue for alien words. The next moment, gone. Only a slight ripple in the air showed something had happened. Earth's leaders watched the security recording over and over. Nothing explained how she vanished. When they asked the Galactic Council for help, the tall beings with their many eyes simply waved dismissive limbs. "Regrettable," the head counselor said. His voice translator made the word sound hollow. "But one human is not important in our vast community of worlds. Continue your integration process. This matter is closed." The Earth representatives stood quietly, their faces showing nothing. They nodded, thanked the Council for their time, and left the great chamber without argument. The aliens thought the matter settled. They were wrong. Back on Earth, President Singh called an emergency meeting. Leaders from every nation joined through secure channels, their faces grim on the wall of screens. "They took one of us," Singh said. "No one needed to ask who they were. The Council refuses to help. What do we do?" For the first time in recorded history, there was no argument, no posturing, no division between nations. "Everything," said the Chinese premier. "We do everything." Within 6 hours, the United Nations passed the Emergency Unity Act with unanimous approval. Ancient enemies offered military support to each other. Scientists who had competed for decades now shared their research freely. The world's largest corporations opened their technologies and resources without asking for payment. Major Han Sung of South Korean intelligence stood before the newly formed Earth Defense Council, showing what little they knew about Dr. Kim's disappearance. "The energy pattern matches nothing in our records," he explained, pointing to strange readings from the moment of the vanishing. "But we found tiny traces of a rare element that only appears in the Varan delegation's equipment." "So they took her," General Rodriguez said, leaning forward. "Most likely," Han Sung agreed, "but the Council seems to be protecting them." When our ambassador pressed for answers, the Varan representatives were quickly escorted away. In orbit above Earth, military satellites quietly changed position. On the ground, the world's most powerful computers began working on new calculations. In hidden facilities, engineers started building devices based on theories that had seemed impossible just days before. Dr. Park, Earth's leading physicist, looked at the prototype quantum scanner with tired but determined eyes. She hadn't slept in 30 hours. "If they won't tell us where they took her," she said to her international team, "we'll find her ourselves." The Galactic Council received a polite message from Earth 3 days after the disappearance. The human representative, a calm man named Director Lee, spoke with perfect respect. "We formally request the return of Dr. Soo-Jin Kim within 7 Earth days," he said. "We believe the Varan delegation has important information about her whereabouts." The Council's response was predictably dismissive. "Your claim lacks evidence. The Varan are respected members of our community. We suggest you focus on more productive matters." Director Lee simply bowed. "We understand. Thank you for your time." After the transmission ended, the Council members laughed among themselves. "Humans are so emotional about individual lives," one said. "They'll forget about this one female soon enough. Their technology is centuries behind ours," another added. What could they possibly do? On Earth, no one was laughing. In a secret facility beneath the Pacific Ocean, the first ship of Earth's new fleet was nearly complete. Built with technology that human scientists had been forbidden from developing, it incorporated systems that the Council believed impossible for Earth to understand. They had underestimated human determination. They had underestimated what happens when humans work together. They had underestimated what Earth would do for one of its own. On the 7th day, Earth sent another message to the Council. Director Lee's face appeared on their screens, still calm and respectful. "The deadline for Dr. Kim's return has passed," he said simply. "We will now retrieve her ourselves." The Council didn't even bother to respond to what they saw as an empty threat. Minutes later, alarms began sounding throughout the Council station. Something was happening that none of them thought possible. Earth was coming. The big room fell quiet when General Jeho Park finished speaking. His words hung in the air like a heavy cloud. We cannot win with our current weapons. Their ships are too fast. Their shields are too strong. On the table, blue light formed shapes of Earth's best ships compared to the alien vessels. Earth's looked like toys next to giants. President Singh looked around the room. Leaders from every country sat shoulder to shoulder. Old enemies now sat as friends. Russian generals whispered with American admirals. Chinese scientists shared notes with Europeans. So we cannot win a normal fight, Singh said. But we must get Dr. Kim back. What options do we have? Dr. Lee stood up. Small and quiet, the xenobiologist rarely spoke at these meetings. Everyone turned to listen. The aliens think they know us, she said. They studied our history, our wars, our technology. But they missed something important. She touched a button, and the display changed to show Earth. Beautiful, blue, deadly Earth. This planet tried to kill us every day for millions of years, she continued. Storms, earthquakes, predators, disease. We survived it all. Our bodies can handle pain that would kill a Varan. We can breathe air that would poison a council member. We evolved on a death world, and it made us stronger than they can imagine. She smiled slightly. They see our differences as weakness. Korean, American, Russian, Nigerian. They think our divisions make us easy to control. They're wrong. Our diversity gives us strength they cannot understand. Captain Sung banged his fist on the table. Fine words, Doctor. But how does this help us against ships that could destroy our entire fleet in minutes? Dr. Lee nodded to a thin man in the corner. Dr. Han, the physicist who had been working day and night since Sujin disappeared. We don't fight the way they expect, Dr. Han said, standing. We've been studying their technology from the small samples they shared. They rely on quantum fields for everything. Communications, weapons, shields. But they use only standard configurations. He projected a complex diagram. We found a flaw. Their quantum systems all follow the same basic pattern. If we create an inverse field pattern, here and here, we can disrupt their entire network. General Park looked skeptical. You're suggesting we can shut down their technology? Not just shut down, Dr. Han said with a tired smile. Take control. The room buzzed with whispers. President Singh raised her hand for quiet. How long to develop this technology? Normally, 10 years. But if every lab on Earth works together, Dr. Han looked around the room. 2 weeks. Then we have work to do, Singh said simply. The next 14 days saw the greatest cooperation in human history. Laboratories shared their most secret research. Military bases opened to foreign scientists. Space agencies combined their resources to build launch platforms. In the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, mining ships that once dug for precious metals now carved out hidden shipyards. Workers lived in cramped conditions, sleeping in shifts, eating quick meals while building Earth's first real space fleet. The ships weren't large or beautiful. They were small, fast, and packed with the quantum disruptors Dr. Han had designed. Each could be piloted by a single person. On Earth, Dr. Lee's team worked on another critical project. The aliens think we're weak because we care about one person, she told her team as they worked through the night. Let's show them what that care can do. They developed special suits that would let humans survive in alien environments. Breathing systems that could filter toxic air. Muscles enhancers that could compensate for different gravity. All while Earth's diplomats kept smiling at council meetings. We understand your position, Director Kim told the Galactic Council with a respectful bow. Earth is still learning the ways of galactic society. The council members nodded, pleased with what they saw as human acceptance of their place. You're being very reasonable about this unfortunate incident, the head counselor said. Director Kim smiled politely. We are a reasonable species. That same day, the 500th stealth ship rolled out of the asteroid belt shipyard. Each carried quantum disruptors and a single determined pilot. Each was heading to positions around Council space, invisible to alien sensors. Project Phoenix was almost ready. In her quarters, Director Kim sent a coded message back to Earth. They suspect nothing. The birds are almost in position. The countdown to humanity's response had begun. Captain Tawu sat very still in his command chair as the UES Defiant moved silently through space. This ship was special. It was the first human vessel that alien scanners could not see. The walls were covered with screens showing stars and distant worlds, but Tawu kept his eyes on one small dot at the edge of the Orion Nebula. "Any sign they've spotted us?" he asked quietly. His second in command, Officer Minji, shook her head. "No, Captain. Their patrol ships have passed within 5 kilometers twice now. Our cloak is holding." Tawu nodded but didn't relax. The Defiant had been following a thin trail for 11 days. The trail was made of unusual energy that matched what they found in the room where Dr. Kim disappeared. It was like following footprints, but footprints made of light that only special sensors could see. The trail led away from Council space, deep into the colorful gases of the Orion Nebula. This area belonged to the Mira Collective, aliens who left the Council long ago because they didn't like the rules against certain kinds of science. "Captain, I think we found something," called Jin-Ho from the science station. He was young but brilliant, handpicked for this mission. "The energy trail ends at that small moon." On the main screen, a gray moon appeared. It orbited a gas giant with swirling storms of orange and red. The moon looked empty at first glance. "Zoom in on the dark side," Tawu ordered. The image shifted to show the side of the moon facing away from its sun. There, nestled in a crater, lights glowed. "A base. Run a full scan, but keep our signal weak. We can't let them know we're here." Jin-Ho worked his controls carefully. "It's definitely artificial. I'm detecting power systems, life support, and the same energy signature that took Dr. Kim. She's there, Captain." The crew exchanged looks of excitement mixed with anger. After weeks of searching, they had found their missing scientist. But what was happening to her in that facility? "I'm detecting multiple species inside," Jin-Ho continued. "Mira, of course. Some Varan. Even a few council races, and one human life sign." "She's alive," Minji whispered. Taegu stood up and walked closer to the screen. "Begin mapping their defenses. I want to know everything about this base. How many ships they have, where their weapons are placed, power sources, everything." For 3 days, the Defiant orbited the moon, gathering information. They watched patrol patterns and shift changes. They mapped every centimeter of the base and identified where Dr. Kim was being held, in a lab near the center of the facility. On the 3rd day, Jin-Ho made a troubling discovery. "Captain, I've been analyzing their communications. They're not just studying Dr. Kim. They're studying us, Earth. They're watching how we respond to her disappearance." Tadewu frowned. "Explain." Jin-Ho showed a series of message translations on his screen. "They took her as an experiment to see how humans react when one of our own is taken. They're studying our social bonds, our determination. They've been doing this to other species too." Minji slammed her hand on her console. "They're treating us like lab animals." "Yes," Taogu said calmly, though his eyes were hard. "And they've never had a lab animal fight back before." He turned to his communications officer. "Prepare a data package with everything we've learned. Send it to Earth using the quantum channel. Make sure it includes the location of their power core, shield generators, and the exact room where they're holding Dr. Kim." The officer nodded and began working. "What about us, Captain?" Minji asked. "Do we attack?" Taewoo shook his head. "No. Our job was to find her and gather intelligence. Earth will handle the rest." "Earth is so far away," Jin-Ho said. By the time any fleet arrives, they might move her. Telugu allowed himself a small smile. You think Earth has been sitting idle while we searched? Trust me, help is much closer than the Mira realize. He looked back at the base on the screen, thinking of the scientists trapped inside. The aliens who took her thought they were conducting a simple experiment on human behavior. They had no idea they had just started a war. Send the data, he ordered. And then we wait. As the quantum transmission fired off toward Earth, carrying the exact location of Dr. Kim and detailed plans of the Mira facility, the captain added quietly, "The experiment is about to reach its conclusion, and they won't like the results." The 7 members of the Galactic Council stood in their grand chamber, staring at the human in front of them. Director Jun looked small compared to the tall aliens, but his voice was steady. "Earth formally requests the return of Dr. Soo-Jin Kim within 48 hours, he said. "We know she is being held at a Mira Collective facility in the Orion Nebula. We know the Varan delegation helped take her there." The head counselor, a tall being with blue skin, looked down at June. "These are serious accusations without proof. The Mira Collective is not under our authority, but we will inquire about your missing person." "We are not asking you to inquire," Jun said politely. "We are informing you that we will retrieve Dr. Kim ourselves if she is not returned within 48 hours. The council chamber filled with strange sounds, the alien equivalent of laughter. "With what?" asked a Varan representative. "Your primitive ships cannot even reach the Orion Nebula in 48 hours. Jun bowed slightly. "The deadline stands. 48 hours. After he left, the council sent a warning message to the Mira Collective, more out of procedure than concern. The Mira leader responded quickly. "Yes, we have the human female. She is part of an important study. Do not worry about Earth's threats. Their technology is centuries behind ours. Their nearest ship is still in their home system." The Mira leader was wrong. Very wrong. Captain Ta Wu's Defiant had never left the orbit around the moon base, and it wasn't alone anymore. For the past week, Earth ships had been arriving one by one, using the same stealth technology. They gathered in the nebula's gases, invisible to Mira sensors. Now, as the 48-hour deadline approached, General Park stood on the bridge of the UES Phoenix, the largest ship Earth had ever built in secret. "Status report," he ordered. "All 297 ships in position, General," his officer replied. "Quantum disruptors charged and ready. Rescue teams standing by." Park nodded. "And the Defiant?" "Still undetected, sir. Captain Ta Wu confirms Dr. Kim's location is unchanged." Park looked at the clock. 2 minutes to deadline. Begin final countdown. Across the fleet, crews made ready. These weren't professional space soldiers. Earth didn't have those yet. They were pilots, scientists, engineers, and soldiers who volunteered for a mission they might not return from. All for one person. On the moon base, a Mira scientist was studying readings from Dr. Kim's cell. He noticed her heart rate had increased slightly. "Subject shows elevated stress response," he noted. "Cause unknown." His colleague checked the time. "The Earth deadline is about to expire. Perhaps she senses her people's disappointment." Both aliens laughed in their clicking way. The base's commander entered the control room. "Any sign of Earth activity?" "None, Commander. Their deadline passes in 30 seconds. As expected, they can do nothing." At that moment, every screen in the control room went dark. The lights flickered and died. Emergency systems tried to activate but failed. "What's happening?" the commander demanded. No one could answer. Across the entire Mira Collective territory, the same thing was happening. Every system connected to their quantum network suddenly stopped working. Defense platforms turned off. Communication relays went silent. Even personal devices died. In orbit above the moon, the Earth fleet appeared all at once as they deactivated their cloaking systems. 300 ships arranged in perfect formation. General Park's voice broadcasted on a frequency the Mira couldn't block because their systems no longer worked. "This is General Jaho Park of Earth. We are here for Dr. Soo-Jin Kim. Nothing more, nothing less." Inside the base, the backup lights cast an eerie red glow. The commander stared in shock at the few working screens showing the Earth fleet. "Impossible," he whispered. "They can't have this technology." An alarm sounded as the base's airlock was forced open. The commander rushed to the security center, but the weapons wouldn't fire. The doors wouldn't lock. Through the base, a team of humans in specialized suits moved quickly and precisely. They didn't fire unless fired upon. They moved directly to the central lab where Dr. Kim was held. The lead soldier, a woman named Sunhai, broke the lock on the cell door. Inside, Dr. Kim looked up weakly. She was thin and tired, but alive. "Earth sent you?" she asked in disbelief. Sunhai smiled as she helped Kim to her feet. "All of Earth sent us." As they carried Dr. Kim to the waiting shuttle, Captain Ta Wu walked up to the Mira commander, who was being held by two soldiers. Tai Wu placed a small device on the floor. "What is that?" the commander asked. "A message," Ta Wu replied, "and data showing every Mira facility conducting illegal experiments on sentient beings, including the names of your council collaborators." The commander's eyes widened. "We could have destroyed everything," Ta Wu continued, "but we came only for Dr. Kim. Remember that." As the Earth fleet departed with Dr. Kim safely aboard, the quantum data core left behind activated, displaying a simple message in Mira language. This was restraint. The big round room of the Galactic Council was louder than it had ever been. Aliens of all kinds shouted and waved their limbs. Some had many arms, some had wings, some had only eye stalks, but all were upset. The Mira representative, a tall being with gray skin, pointed his 4 arms at the Earth delegation. "They attacked our base. They broke our machines. They must be punished." Next to him, the Varan leader hissed through sharp teeth. "They used technology they should not have. They tricked us." From his high seat, the head counselor tried to restore order by banging his staff. The loud noise finally made everyone quiet down. "We will hear all sides," he said. "But first, let us hear from the eldest among us." All eyes turned to the oldest council member. Old Kano had lived for over 500 years. His skin was wrinkled and his eyes cloudy, but his mind was still sharp. He slowly stood, leaning on his cane. "You all argue about broken rules," he said in his soft voice. "But you miss what matters most. These humans did something I have never seen before." He pointed a shaky finger at the Earth representatives. "They united their entire world. They built a fleet in secret. They developed technology they shouldn't have for centuries. They disabled an entire collective's defense system. And they did all this for one person. One single life." The room went very quiet. "Ask yourselves," Old Kano continued, "what would they do if we threatened their planet? Their whole species. I think we are lucky they only wanted their scientists back." The next day, Dr. Soo-Jin Kim herself came to speak to the council. She looked thin but strong. Behind her stood humans from every Earth nation. Tall, short, dark, light, all standing together. The head counselor spoke first. "Dr. Kim, we regret what happened to you." The Mira acted without council approval. Dr. Kim nodded. Her voice was clear and calm. "I was taken to be studied, to see how far humans would go to save one of their own. Now you have your answer." She looked around the room, meeting the eyes of each council member. "We came to this community hoping for friendship. We still hope for this. But there is something you must understand about humans." She paused. The room was completely silent. "We protect our own. Every one of us matters. From our world leaders to our smallest child. This is not something we will ever compromise on. Not for the council. Not for anyone." The Mira representative started to object, But the head counselor silenced him with a gesture. "The council has discussed this matter at length," the head counselor said. "We formally apologize for what happened to you, Dr. Kim. The Mira Collective will face consequences for their actions." He sat straighter in his chair. "Furthermore, we offer Earth an accelerated path to full council membership, with expanded territory rights and technology sharing privileges." After the human delegation left, the council members remained to talk. The Varan representative was still angry. "We gave them too much. They broke our rules." Old Kano laughed softly. "They showed us something important. Look at what they accomplished. In 3 weeks, they went from having no space fleet to building ships that our sensors couldn't detect. They created weapons that turned off our most advanced systems. They are dangerous," the Varan hissed. "Perhaps," said the head counselor. "But consider this. They could have destroyed the Mira homeworld. They had the power. Instead, they took only what was theirs and left." Old Kano nodded. "In my 5 centuries, I have seen many species rise and fall. The dangerous ones take whatever they want. The weak ones take nothing, even what belongs to them. The humans did neither." He smiled, showing old teeth. "They remind me of the ancient guardian species from our histories. Fierce protectors, yet fair. They are either the most dangerous species we have ever encountered," said the head counselor quietly, "or the most valuable allies we could hope for." Old Kano's eyes twinkled with wisdom gained from centuries of watching civilizations rise and fall. "I think," he said, "they are both." Back on Earth, Soo-Jin Kim stood with General Park, watching the sunset from a beach. The rescue mission was now known by every person on the planet. Humans celebrated being united for the first time in history. "What happens now?" she asked. "The galaxy knows what we can do." Park looked up at the stars just beginning to appear. "Now we take our place among them. Not as the strongest or the smartest, perhaps, but as the species that never leaves one of its own behind." Soo-Jin smiled. "No matter how far among the stars we go." "No matter how far," Park agreed.